everybody. Eve Harrow, Director of Tourism and Community Development for One Israel Fund. And I'm in a place that always makes me happy when I come here. Itamar, the community just near Shechem, with Batya Erdstein in Bots Bagiva, mud on the mountain. So it's always great to be here. I drink coffee with Batya every morning. I have an entire collection of every kind of coffee mug she has ever made. And in the morning, my biggest question is, which one do I use today as I pull it out of the cabinet? So even though I don't see her for months at a time, she's with me at the critical moments when I start my day. So thanks so much with COVID and craziness and kids home for allowing us to come up today and talk to you about what you've been doing and how you are keeping busy in these crazy times.
Thank God, since the COVID, we've been really busy. We have, Baruch Hashem, a lot of supporters of the Jewish people in the land. So I've just been getting tons of orders.
Amazing.
But of course, all the tourism stopped. I used to have a lot of tour buses from Germany and Holland and all around. It's really, really amazing. And so that stopped, but now we're just doing more of like wholesale export with our work, which is a total miracle. And thank you so much for buying my cups.
No, it's great. And I mean, I give them as gifts, and you should just know that you're all over the place. Like your creations, your passion are found all over the world. And I hope that's something that makes you feel good, because you don't really know what's going on.
Right, I just like sit on the potter's wheel and I put them on the shelves, and I'll get a phone call and I'll get the orders out, but I don't really know where they're going. Right. So one thing that I always tell people is that when I'm sitting on the potter's wheel and I'm making whatever it is that I'm making on the clay, I first put in, a spiritual intention. Like I say, God, please help me. Whatever I'm making, that should go into hands that will make them happy and give them health and make their Shabbat table beautiful or make someone happy. And I really want people to feel the beauty of Israel and the development of the settlement and just the hitpatchut, the development of what's going on here. And I want people to, drink in the morning and say, wow, look at these flowers. They're spring flowers of Israel, and think of Israel.
So that's beautiful how you infuse yourself in the spirituality of the place. I mean, we're up here in this area outside Shechem where so much of our history happened and so much began here, and where incredible people live. I mean, tough people live in this area. It's not easy to get to, it's not easy to stay. And I know that you infuse yourself and those prayers, which is just so beautiful, into your work. But I also see that you put the land of Israel onto the work. There's a lot of the 7 species here. I'm looking at pomegranates and olives. And are you inspired by the location, by what you see when you look outside the windows?
Yeah, I'm totally inspired. And it's something that I don't really have to think about. It's just so natural. Because when you're living in such a place where it's so raw, you see what's growing. And so when it's Shavuot, of course, you see the wheat. And when it's Rosh Hashanah, you see the pomegranates. And so it's just like I'm infused with this energy of spring or winter, whatever it is. And I come in here and I'm painting on the pieces, and I'm trying to, the olives and the pomegranates and all the 7 species. Right. So I'm trying to get them in there so when people actually take it home and they look at it, they're like, wow, Israel. Yeah, it's kind of funny because sometimes certain cups that people want, I say it's not in season. Because like one of the first trees that my husband planted here, he planted actually like somewhere between 250, 300 trees here on our land within like 4 or 5 years. So the first tree he planted, so right in front of the studio, was a fig tree, because he knows that I love the fig leaves, and I press them into the clay, and then I fire them at 1,200 degrees Celsius. And so then they just kind of turn into ash. So you have this imprint of the fig leaf. And it's a fig leaf from a fig tree that my husband planted on a cup. So for us, it's like, this is the proof that we're back in the land, that we're planting our trees here.
Right. So it's like you brand your work with the things that grow in the land. That's beautiful. How did a girl like you end up in a place like this?
Well, I'm a California girl, and I never thought that I would come here and be like a settler on the land, and that's not how it started at all. Actually, we were living in Sfat for many years. And we wanted some place with more nature, a place that the kids could feel more free in. And we just got here. It's a question that I keep asking myself. How am I here? How did I end up here? What am I doing here? And I really believe that the answer is slowly coming to me throughout the years. of being here. I didn't come here with ideology to settle the land and, some spiritual ideology. This is where kind of God sent me. And I feel I was kind of even invited to be here God chose me to settle this land, and I'm not particularly, brave or anything more than any other person. And so now, as the days go by, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? It's not an easy place to live here. I love it, and it's a blessing. Every single morning I wake up, I see the sunrise, I see the sunset. The nature is amazing, unbelievable. We have a beautiful studio that we built, and the trees it's just like I feel like I'm in the Garden of Eden every morning from, anew. But still, you have your, it's hard. Sometimes we don't have electricity, or we don't have parks for the kids, and the community is a little bit like we need more people to come. And slowly I'm like, why am I here? And I know why I'm here now, and it's within me now. I know that I'm here. I'm settling the land. I'm bringing Jews here. I'm also very much involved in teaching Gentiles about Israel and the importance of why the Jews are here with no apologies. Why is it so important for us to develop this land and just live as normal Jews here on the land, just like any other person in Tel Aviv should. So we're a community above Itamar, and we're called 851, Hilltop 851. Why? Because we're 851 meters above sea level. And so there's a lot of children here, thank God. I myself have 6 and a grandchild on the way, God willing. And there's grandmas here, grandparents, and all the age levels. And having a park is just not a place, it's not just a place where the kids could play. The park that we want to build is going to be a community center. It's like a place where the mothers can gather and speak, and it's such an important thing to have, especially when you're developing a community. There needs to be a place where we can get together besides the big Knesset during the week when it's a hot, sunny day, and we want to organize things, and it'll be just an amazing opportunity, amazing improvement for this community that we so much need. Also, just for the health of the children to be able to, play in a safe place.
So the last time I was here a few months ago, there were a couple of mugs that stood out to me to be different than I already know your work. So I was like, these don't look the same. And I asked you about them, and you said, funny you should ask, because this is a crazy story about somebody who built me a kiln. Would you share the story?
Yeah. So it is an interesting story. As I said, I work with tour groups, so I have people from Germany that come here, and we have 50 people sitting in the studio, and I have an open forum. And I really encourage everyone to really ask questions that they're afraid to ask, and just open things up so we can have a conversation where people understand what we're doing here. And so I had a German that came in one day, and I thought he was just coming to see the pottery, or he was coming to bring the groups in. He is a person who brings Germans to Israel to help the Holocaust survivors build things that are missing in their homes, like fix their toilets or their plumbing. And so he brings like a group of 10 or 12 people to Israel every 3 months or something like that, and they come and they fix houses to the survivors. And he said to me, hi, can I bring my group here? I said, yeah, that would be great. So he said to me, I've been taking care of my sick wife for 5 years. She had cancer, and he wasn't able to do any art for so long. And he said, I'm a potter. I said, you're a potter? Wow, that's amazing. Please come and take as much clay as you want. And I really felt like I wanted him to get back on the wheel because he suffered so much. And I went home and I said, here, just use the studio, use the wheel, use as much clay as you want. And I came back a few hours later and he was gone. But the whole studio was filled with these beautiful big bowls that I guess he put all his energy into just all these beautiful bowls. And he said, take them and sell them. And then he came back the next day and he said, do you want me to make you a wood firing kiln? So my kilns run on electricity. And because I do wholesale, everything has to come out. It's like the right colors and everything. But when you start doing firings with wood, it's very special. So I didn't know anything about it. And so he built me a wood firing kiln. And he said, wow, this is like a tikkun, like a fixing of the Germans, the kilns that they used in Germany. Now we're having a kiln in the Shomron that is firing beautiful things for the Shabbat table or for families to make them happy, Chanukiot, whatever it is. So I really felt like, wow, this is a tikkun of someone who wants to fix something that was so terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow, that's a very intense story. I'm here now with Baruch Erdstein, and curious, and I want to ask you, Baruch. You know, people tend to think of Judea and Samaria as like all the same, and the people living out here, the settlers, all the same. And it's really not true. There's places that are much more developed. There's cities, there's farms, there's ranches. Of all the places in Judea and Samaria, Itamar, and especially the area of Itamar in which you live, the Gidonim as we call them, the outer parts, the parts that flow up onto the mountains, is probably one of the more challenging places to live in this area because it's far from the center of the country, from job opportunities. So your neighbors aren't always the friendliest people on the planet, and Itamar has suffered maybe more than proportionally any other community from terrorism and other acts of violence. You're here, you've raised a family here, you're passionate about this place, you plant things. I mean, you clearly love the land and have made a commitment to the land that not very many people could do. What drives you? What brought you here? What keeps you here?
So to answer your question, I would say that since I was very young, I'm a person of ideals and of dreams, and trying to fulfill my dreams. And I think these hills, maybe more than anywhere else in the land of Israel, it's a place of dreams and fulfilling dreams. This is the territory of Joseph. You know, Joseph is just buried just down the hill, and Joseph is also very much about gathering in, you know, gathering produce and gathering different types of people. And
a dreamer.
Oh yeah, if that wasn't clear. And so I think very much in the spirit of Joseph, there is a very diverse population of Jews up here on the hilltops. I think everybody in their own way is fulfilling dreams. Some of us on a personal level, you know, for their families, some of them for the Jewish nation. I could say for myself that I feel very privileged that I feel that at this point in my life, I'm fulfilling dreams on all levels. Since, you know, a 17-year-old, you know, kid wanting to live, you know, in nature, to the dreams of the Jewish people, returning to our land, farming our land, helping to have this land flourish once again. Also on a level of all humanity. I believe strongly that what we are doing here is only good for all of humanity, only bringing blessings at nobody's expense. And we see that even on the level of the ecology, the type of lifestyle that we dream of, that we're trying to live here, should be only good for the ecology, and should just be nothing but blessing for the whole creation. And God willing, we should be fulfilling God's will and doing the best we can.
So for those who aren't familiar with Hebrew, Baruch means blessing. And I think it's just beautiful how you've brought that all together. And I know that you inspire me when I come up here, when I bring people up here. They don't leave the same as when they came, because they see what two ordinary people are able to accomplish and are able to do here. And it's really a very special gift for all of us.
I want to thank everybody who's interested in our lifestyle. You're welcome to visit us anytime. Lots of guest space. And it's a privilege for us all to be part of this beautiful and amazing project of the ingathering of the exiles.